Hey yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back. We have Special K. Special K is back. Special K 8541 from the Reddit clan. He's in his Tier 9 Russian medium tank, the T-54, the Heat 54, and loaded into, what is this place? Mountain Pass. Looks like initially he's going to head down to the south. He sent me a note and said, man, I'm really liking this T-54. Maybe I got something going on here. I think this game shows a pretty good example of a reaction, and I agreed after I looked at it. So let's take a look at this. He initially heads down here and looks for the early shots. Early damage is always good. This is a great spot right here. You can see that he can pull back to cover, and he's got the cover right in front of him, and then he's got the trees, bushes, whatever that is on the edge, and he is easily spotting these guys, and they cannot see him, which is interesting. No shot there. He's got a T-54E1 moving through the middle. That guy's kind of raged straight down in there, and the bulk of his team is headed down to the south. Normally I would go down to the south, but it looks like they probably got this handled, and I think he saw the same thing based on what he said on his note to me. He said, I decided to work the middle and the north flank, the weak flank, because I saw not much was going on. Right now the 103 is holding up in the north. There's nobody showed up, so you've got to keep an eye on that. There's only a grill in the middle. There's a couple people working this middle pit. The rest of the team has all gone down. And if they can't win down there, then there's probably going to be a big problem overall. There is a possibility of heading down there himself and adding his gun into that fray, potentially beating those guys a little faster. But he would have to keep a very close eye on the minimap and come back if required. So maybe a little bit longer waiting here. Personally, I probably would have headed south, but watch what happens, though, based on his decision. He heads off this way, and it looks like maybe he's going up to the flank or maybe to the middle. And there's a 13-105 and a 54E1. Now, those guys pushed up, so you had to know that the enemy was going to react to that. I'd have either left that spot a lot earlier, or once I saw those guys pushing in, I'd have stayed over here, because more than likely the enemy team's going to try to jump on him. And it looks like Special K is going to realize this here in a moment. He turns around and says, uh-oh. They have reacted to my scout and my 54E1, and had you already been over there, maybe a few more shots would already be going in. There's a good example of reaction, though, and trying to be the fire brigade. You can't be everywhere at once. You've got to take the information that you have at the time and then react, and this was a nice reaction right here. He's got an IS-7 and a 55A, though. Doesn't want to get too involved with trading shots with these guys, but for some reason the IS-7 decides to make a runner. No longer a problem. He heads off. Looks like he wants to go down and try to stem the bleeding down there in the south. Still pretty much an even game, though. 55A moves across the middle. The 430 starts punishing that guy. Special K is looking for some shots. Down goes their T-54. And the 55A is running off. Looks like he wants to get around the corner and maybe rejoin with the object. 257 and whatever else looks like a T-10, who may be coming up in the north. The 103 is holding so far. Special K's team has a small advantage at 4-3, and he'll flex back over here and maybe try to help this grill take down the WZ-1FT or GFT. No shot there. There's not quite the angle he wants, so he's going to spin back around, head over to the right side, and right now you can tell that the 103 is starting to lose that fight up there. He's getting ganged up on. Special K gets a shot in there but doesn't do any damage. The grill nearly kills him. And down he goes. The standard B takes out the WZ. And now we can see the fully developed problem on the north flank. Special K reacting back over to that. Now you can see on the mini-map, and I'm not sure he noticed this, but there is an object 430 following up, and the grill has flexed back. So 3 tanks have realized what's going on and getting here quite early. Special K is going to get to this nice hold down spot right here. It's a really good spot, but you've got a problem with depression on a T-54. You really needed to come up over here another tank width to the left. Then you could fully use the hold down capability, and unfortunately just can't quite get his gun down on what he wants to hit. Finally gets one in there and gets a shot with the regular AP round on a 257. Looks like he's going to run away, but the 430 has moved up, so I think it would have been nice if he'd have stayed there. There was at least another shot there. Fairly well hold down, and the T-10 is the most likely target. You might have been able to take a shot or two out of him. Let's see if the 430 goes after that guy. I know he backs off. Special K kind of notices that and then turns around, and unfortunately his 430 takes a big hit. He's able to kill their 430. And had you been up there, then I think there's another 2-3 shots in there. Maybe keeping the 430 alive for at least another shot. And then backing out of that thing. There is a possibility, had you both been there, they'd have just all come around the corner and ignored the grill. But I think you left a few shots on the table right there. 50 TP uses that big alpha gun, puts a big hammer blow in. You get one little one. I'm going to try to crawl up here and get underneath, but can't quite do it. And end up tracking the guy, but he fixes it. He takes another hit because the standard B has joined you. And then a nice job circling this guy. Make him change his armor profile to the rest of your buddies, and down he goes. And we get a little bit sideways on dealing with these guys, trying to get up in here. We give a bit of side armor. He's got a little bit better position right there. Now he's going to run down and try to get behind the 257. This is a nice shot, just as he does that speed break move. Shoot him right in the side, and now the grill decides he wants to get in there. And unfortunately, pretty soon here, you're going to be down to a one shot. You take a hit in there from the 55A's heat, who low rolls a little bit. That's to your advantage. But now you're basically a one shot to that T10. You can take two from the 55A, but the T10's a problem up there. You can't just push the 55A and not expect the T10 to kill you, but your team is starting to get a big advantage. The standard B is able to, while you're keeping them honest, I would have taken that shot right there. Just take it and back off. Looks like you were trying to get, I think you were being a little too hesitant on taking that shot. Down he goes, 55A. Because had that 55A been reloaded or been a little more aggressive and poked out, he might have got you. But I think he was being held back by the fact that there was a Type 5 staring him in the face right there while you were messing around with the T10. And that is the advantage of having so many tanks in one place. The enemy can't possibly focus on all of you. Once they focus on one, the rest of them have an opportunity. And I think by you getting forward in there, especially the move on the 257, that's a great example of what mediums do. Get in there, get turrets moved, get tanks spinning around, get better, or worse for the enemy anyway, better for you armor profiles on the enemy tank to shoot at. And this was a great example. That he doesn't get any more kills. He comes off this one. Let's just see what happens here. He comes, whee, sliding down. Standard B crashed. Oh, there we go. Looks like their standard B crashed. I don't know where he was. I wasn't looking at the mini-map for him, but he killed himself. 3,155 damage, 475 assist damage, 320 blocked. Like I was saying, a nice job in a medium tank of just looking at what's actually happening in the battle. Looking at the flow of the battle, checking the mini-map, understanding where tanks are, where tanks aren't, paying attention that, you know what, that north flank's going to be a problem. Let me just stay a little bit closer. The south is fine. They've sent a lot of people down there. You know, normally Guido comes down pretty hard on get to the critical terrain, win it, and then come back. But in this case, more than likely, you had that sorted out down there, and you chose to go the middle. And as long as there were shots, that was a good idea. Like I said, I think you hung around there a little longer than I would have necessarily, but you did flex back when the T-55 and IS-7 came back. Probably should have been there a little bit earlier, but these are all kind of nitpicky things. Overall, a really good job, and I think a good lesson for everybody who's watching on flexing and reacting to the battle and going where you're needed. Nice job, man. Good win. For everybody else, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you.